Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time and depending on when you're going to be seeing this video. It's your brother, your boy, courserepscorner. Like I always tell you guys, it's my corner, it's your corner, and it's our corner.
I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun, yeah. I don't wanna fall in love.
For the past few weeks, running into months on the issue about Bobrisky being in the prison or not, it has raised a lot of eyebrows. And I tell you, it is not a lie. For me, for what I've seen, what I've heard, is not a lie. Because what somebody says and another person confirms, more than one person confirms it, for me, it is something that is truthful. Get me? This issue of Bobrisky have raised a lot of eyebrow concerning the prison and concerning the Nigeria Correctional Service. They are known as the Nigerian Correctional Service. They are the ones in charge of the prison, those persons who have been jailed, those who are on death row, those who are on bail, etc., etc. The prison is a place where you go to serve your sentence. But unfortunately, somebody was sentenced by a judge, and the correctional center took him somewhere else. And people have not been talking how these centers are, how their staff are unpaid, how they are not catered for, how they are not taken care of, and so on and so forth. This is an interview organized by Arise News. So kudos and credit of this video goes to Arise News for this wonderful and educative interactive section between two persons who have been to the prison before and their own TV presenter, where they said a lot of things about the prison and how it is done, how it is run, by who it is run, what they do there, what they don't do there, etc., etc. I will not want to talk much. I've said a lot. Let me keep quiet and let you hear this from two particular person. One is an investigative journalist and the other one is an investigative lawyer and also a journalist too. You will hear two of them. I don't want to call their name. You read and you see their name there. But I want you to hear what they said. For a person to come out and tell you it's ordeal, you don't need to know that, yes, this thing is real. Prison, they say, freedom at a cost. You must have to pay to get that freedom. The prison, it has a cost. That's why you see the comment, prison, freedom at a cost. Let me allow us to watch this video, okay? I want to thank you for watching my content. I want to appreciate your love and the care. For those of us who have not subscribed or followed us on social media platforms, please I beg you, subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and share so that we can move this ministry to the permanent side. Come away next time to see me your screen, guys. I leave us with this video of two Nigerians who have been to the prison and how they share their experiences, what they passed through, what they went through in the Nigerian prison. Please give me your comment, opinion, and the reaction in the comment section.
Every investigation I've done, it's because ordinary people went through those systems and encountered problems, and they thought it had to be escalated. So I didn't just, someone went to prison and came out and said, oh wow, that's a cesspool of corruption. You need to find a way to get in. The person went to prison in 2017. It took me 2 years to plan, and in 2019 I went in. Now, by the way, I spent 5 nights in the police cell. All they wanted to do was collect bribes to free me, because I didn't pay bribes.
This is from your own personal experience?
From my personal, we got someone to arrange that. I bought a car, a vehicle. I paid out of 2.8. I paid 500, and I didn't want to pay the rest.
Okay, that's the
claim that was taken to the police. Okay. And then they picked me up and changed the charge to stealing and hijacking of SUV. Person said I didn't complete payment and I didn't want to. So each day they were asking, oh, you don't have someone to come and settle your bill. They just wanted bribes. But I wanted to go to prison because police was not the target. So at the end, after Monday to Friday, they had to arraign me in court. First thing to note is that once the magistrate said remanded in prison custody, and the court closed, and they took me down to the holding cell, the first thing the prison warder did, there was a lady who was, working as my sister. They told me to go into their office in court, and they told her to peep into the holding cell. I had peeped myself, I saw, and they told her, is that the kind of place you want your brother to stay? Give us money and your brother will stay in our office. Because we needed to be there until evening when the prison boss would go around all the courts to convey inmates to prison. The prison warders approached me, I didn't approach them. And then, there was a negotiation, and then she settled for 5,000 naira.
5,000 naira.
Oh yes, it's on tape. I want him to produce the videos the prison service seized from me in 2019. Because when you say some allegations are unsubstantiated, the ones that are substantiated, that were taped, that the prison service seized from me, produce them.
Wow.
Oh yes. Not only that, then they came and then they said, oh, in prison, if you have money, you will never suffer. You serve the prison either with your body or with your money. I can tell you Bobrisky did not spend time in prison. Spent 3 weeks and they moved him out. There's no single Nigerian who has money and does not want to complete their time in prison that will do it. It's only if they want to. From there, they told me I could get a decent place to stay in prison for 50,000, for 100,000, for 150. He even said 1 million. This was in 2019.
So, how much are they supposed to be charging you per day for this supposed...
Different special rooms depending on how much money you have. When the guy said 1 million, I said 1 million. He said yes. When Fayose was in Ikoyi prison, do you think he stayed in the general cell?
Wow.
That's the answer they gave me. These things are on tape. I'm not making allegations. These were things that happened to me that I filmed with the secret service. Tell the Nigerian prison service to produce it. Everything is on tape. The warders then told me that the warders in the prison had told the ones in court not to be striking deals with inmates, to wait for the inmates to get to prison so that the ones in prison would strike the deals by themselves.
Oh, because we were training the warders.
Yes, the warders in court. Yes, even in court, somebody approached me. You know, the warders, call say who is working on your bill. They called someone. The person, the lawyer, came and said, I work with the magistrate. If you pay 200,000 naira, you will sleep in your house tonight, even though the magistrate had pronounced remanded in prison.
Wow.
Yes, the only reason it didn't work out is I wanted to go to prison, not to get out.
So aside from, so even when you were in prison, what was the condition like?
Oh, you get to prison,
wise, health-wise,
before you talk about sanitation, corruption it's an impossibly corrupt system. You get documented as a new inmate. They take your details and you submit any cash on you. The idea is that inmates should not be in possession of cash. You give your cash to the records office. Then you go back to the records office to say, oh, I want to make a call. I want to buy coke. I want to buy food. They release to you in bits so that you can't commit any crime. You can't do it. They then have, the warders then have convicts. Remember, they're awaiting trial inmates, they're convicted inmates. The convicted inmates know that they have nowhere to go. Someone who has a 7-year jail sentence, a 10-year jail sentence is loyal to the prison warders. Because you have that's your home for the next 7, 10, regardless of your sentence. Those ones then come to you, being documented, say, out of your money, you will remove 1,000 naira to the woman at the records office, doing the documentation. And we're many. When they allocate, so after they take your pictures online, then in print, they do double documentation online and in print, and then they allocate you to a cell. The prison warder in charge of the cell, you have to pay that one. As of then, it was 1,000 naira.
Per what? Per
just for being in the cell, for nothing.
How many of you are usually in the cell?
So many. It depends on how many inmates they bring in. I spent 8 days in Ikoyi prison. The lowest number of awaiting trial inmates brought in was 16. Sometimes 40 something. Sometimes
40 something in that one cell.
No. Just there's some. On the first night, you sleep in a place called welcome cell. You don't sleep like this. You sleep like this. If you're like crayfish, when you open sardine, have you ever opened sardine? The way they pack, I'm not exaggerating. It's exactly. If Bobby spent one night in welcome, you think he will come out and speak to anybody? You won't come out. That first night, you keep asking yourself, who sent me?
Wow.
Because if I sleep and my head is facing the direction this way, the next person to me, the head then is in this direction. So you cannot turn.
Is at the back of your
head. You cannot turn. You sleep like this all night. If there's no how you cannot turn. That's how you sleep. Its punishment is, and the thing is that once you have money, you bypass all these things. So
really,
the prison authorities have to decide what they want to do. Is the prison supposed to be a punitive, or that's how I've never referred to them as Nigerian correctionals? What are they correcting? Any of these prison warders should actually be behind bars themselves. Inmates have phones. How do they have phones? The warders sell phones to inmates. Now, this is not an allegation. Some of the tweets you see inmates tweeting on Facebook. Now, if you want inmates to have access to phones, yes, whatever. I'm not saying inmates should go there and want to commit suicide because they're in prison. It has to be a level playing ground. You don't bring people in for corruption and then you sell. So I want a phone in prison. A warder then comes and says it's 250,000. The phone is 150,000 in the market. The warder sells it for 250,000, and then that's it.
And where do you get it? Supposed 250,000 to pay for it?
It's your choice. If you want the phone, are you not the one who wants to? You are in prison. You are in prison. You don't have a choice. By the way, a prisoner, and even if it's awaiting trial, you can't talk to a warder unless you squat. You can't stand in
squat. As in literally squats.
Yes, you cannot squat. You can't. If a warder is seated and you want to talk to that warder, you can't stand and talk. You squat. Awaiting trial, you've not been pronounced guilty. So it is that bad. Now, when the system refuses to acknowledge its failings, then there won't be progress. So if it comes on national TV to then come and say there are allegations, that's not progress. They seized my device. So ask them, produce that device. Let us watch the videos. Shoyamba is lying. Let's play the videos we seized from him to prove that he's a liar.
As at today, there is clearly nothing correctional about the Nigerian Correctional Service. The system is completely flawed. And I have had cause to say that the correctional service in Nigeria requires fundamental reforms. Nearly everything Fisayo has said is the truth. I can confirm to you that yes, there are what they call special cells. When I was in Ikotekbene prison, they put me in the so-called special cell, right? And 50,000 was collected for that. I mean, I'm confirming to you, so I'm not telling you. These are things I have said publicly. I'm not telling you what I was told. I'm telling you my own experience. 50,000 for 2 weeks. And they insisted that, oh, you cannot stay in the general cell. You are VIP. You are this, you are that. So, and guess what? The so-called VIP cell, there's nothing VIP about it. The condition there is not even nothing. But at least in comparison to the other places, maybe some relative, better than the cell that I would have ordinarily stayed. But that VIP cell is inside the premises of the prison. It's not outside. So the truth is that in the prison, you have to buy space as an inmate. I paid for lights. They don't even, in fact, for about almost the entire period, I was in Uyo Correctional Custodial Center. Because I spent 2 weeks in Ikotekbene, 2 weeks in Uyo. We did not have electricity supply. Inmates were the ones who paid for their own kerosene. And they used lantern. I paid 1,000 for kerosene. And guess what? It is the warder that are selling the kerosene. Everything in the prison is paid for. The food that inmates are served, you will not serve your dog. The gari is not only bad, it is despicable. If you see the food, so I didn't eat the so-called food there. I did not drink their water for the 1 month. I was on self-feeding. The system allows you to apply for self-feeding. I mean, if I had eaten what they served, I'm not sure I would have come out alive. Self-feeding is you write a letter to the prison to say, I want to take responsibility for my own feeding. Okay. So you now nominate either your relative, your spouse, or whoever to be the one to be bringing food for you.
You pay for that privilege?
No, for the self-feeding, you don't have to pay. Okay. You just simply need to apply and then nominate someone to bring food for you. Because the food they are selling, giving to inmates, is ridiculous. So inmates now have to devise internal way of, concocting whatever they are served to make it, possible to swallow, not to eat. Inmates don't eat, they swallow. I'm trying to make that distinction. Because if you say they are eating, it's not food that they are served. And this is something I have said repeatedly. In fact, the correctional service in Nigeria is so bad. The day I arrived in Ikotekbene on the 27th of July, an inmate had died the previous day. The day I was leaving, an inmate had died. The day I arrived with you, an inmate had died. Like it was as if the death in the correctional service is so rampant. The healthcare is nothing to write home about. This is not limited to the correctional service that I was, the custodial centers. It's a national thing. What Fisayo is telling you is not a lie. When you see how inmates are sleeping, the point he did not make is that you have to pay for the space. And this space you are paying for is to allow you to sleep properly. So there are inmates that, I'm telling you, there are inmates that have to stand. That I'm telling you that they may not even have the space, like to even squeeze themselves. Oh my goodness. It is so congested. It is so diabolical. The hygiene is zero. The water is nothing to write home about. The feeding. So I used to tell these NGOs that go to prison to donate food, you are wasting your time. If you want to go to these custodial centers to donate food items, donate on used clothes, or whatever, be sure that you are there when those things are distributed to inmates.
Okay, because they never get to the purpose.
The correctional officers, many of them are also prisoners. The only distinction is the uniform. They are grossly underpaid. I don't know if you are aware. They are grossly underpaid. Their welfare is nothing to write home about. So they struggle with the food. In fact, when I was for the 1 month I was there, I had food in excess. I mean, people were bringing all sorts of things for me. It is not only prisoners who were struggling for the food, even the correctional officers. Yes. So the system has completely collapsed. And guess what? Part of the reason that awaiting trial inmates stay for so long to go to court is that before you are even sometimes taken to court, you have to facilitate it. If your relative don't come to give money, right, to in charge court, they call it in charge court, the officer in charge of taking people to court, you may not have a court appearance. Because there are people, let me also shock you. Do you know that there are inmates in Nigerian prisons today that nobody outside knows that they are there? I met a gentleman from Adamawa who was in Uyo prison. Nobody knew. Nobody outside the four walls of the prison knew that he was there. And it's not isolated. There are people in prison that cannot be accounted for. There are people in prison that their court records cannot be traced. There are people in prison that have not been awaiting trial, that have not been taken to court for up to 5 years. Oh my God. It is that terrible. The system has completely collapsed. So one of the things I did while I was living is that, by the grace of God, I was able to facilitate the release of about 17 inmates when I was living. Because some of them were released on bail, they cannot perfect their bail. So all I simply had to do was that to make money available and get them out on release. And those that needed fine and all that. So what I'm telling you is that it is let the minister stop this hypocritical investigation. What the National Assembly is doing, as far as I'm concerned, is a product of parliamentary redundancy. Having not been able to do the real work that Nigerians have voted them to do, they are now distracting themselves with the Bobrisky matter. The member who moved that motion, Patrick Umo, was my senior in the university. He's a lawyer. I know he's a thorough person. But what they should investigate is not even just about Bobrisky. Bobrisky is, for me, the whole investigation to a large extent is a distraction. The real issue is the rot in the system, is the way inmates are treated as animals. In fact, the day I arrived with you, 2 weeks after I got a grade, they took me to you. This assistant controller of corrections told me, I had to challenge. I said, Madam, do you treat people as animals here? I said, yes, we treat you as animals. You don't have any rights here.
She actually verbally told you that?
She said it to me. Of course, at that time, maybe, she had not known who she was speaking to. But she said it, this woman said it to me, here we treat you as animals. Inmates don't have any rights in the prisons. They have no rights. And it pains me because you will literally die. In fact, there was a gentleman who, in Ikotegbene, had an accident. His legs was seriously fractured. The medical facility there could not cater for him. I was the one who undertook responsibility for his treatment. And I did the same thing for several inmates. So I'm just telling you, it's not to sing my praise. I'm telling you how bad the situation is. There are inmates that, they have a call center in the prisons. There are inmates who cannot even afford to call their relative. So the system has completely collapsed. Anybody that tells you that we have this correctional service that is correcting inmates is wasting his time. That is why when people go there, in many occasions they come back, they are more emboldened. They go back to crime. There is nothing reformative about that system. The entire system is based on a mindset of slavery. It is based on a mindset of subversion. And guess what? Many of the people that are actually in prison are innocent.